Now, you're planning to buy a home. And you're organising your wedding day.
Yeah.
Why are you doing both at the same time?
I'm crazy. I've lost the plot.
How do you work out what to prioritise?
Well, I guess I've given myself enough time. So by the time we get married, it's been 2 years since we got engaged. So I've just got everything, I guess, scattered across the 2 years.
And you just told us you got the date already organised, so it's a date you can remember.
Yeah.
Yeah? Good for your husband to remember too when it comes
It'll be easy for him to remember the anniversary gifts.
That's an important thing we hadn't even thought of yet. Now, are you planning to buy a home before or after the wedding?
We actually bought land and we're building.
Okay, so you're already locked in.
Yeah, we're locked in.
So it's a big commitment when you're meeting someone and you've been together for a little while, I presume. And
almost 4 years.
Okay, great. So you've discussed lots of things because it's a big commitment to also get married, but of course to invest in property together as well. So did you talk about those sort of things before you did that? Yeah,
we did. We actually started talking about buying property pretty early on in the piece. You'll probably think I'm crazy, but it was a couple of weeks into our relationship.
Right.
He was heading off on a holiday to Miami and I said, you go have fun, but as soon as you're back, we're saving. And then we did exactly that and we got our first property within a year of being together.
Now, I'm going to say something that's going to be shot down around the country and you two are going to hit me, but if I be stereotypical, sometimes
just got my hand raised ready for you.
Sometimes, I'm like this, sometimes people might think that the guys are going, look, we need to sell, and the girl goes, oh no, but I want this and I want that, and you know what I mean? Like, whereas you're the one who's enforcing the saving from day one. So why do you think that is?
I've just always, I guess I've learned from my parents.
Yes.
You go to school, you study, you work, you save, you invest in property and you set up your future. So,
gee, there's some good parenting right there.
Very good parenting.
Yeah.
Wish they'd raised me. You're an active property investor. So when did you start?
When I was younger. So 18, 19.
And how did you start? What was your first purchase?
I actually fell into it. So my first purchase was within Sydney.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guidance by Dad. So.
Okay.
Now tell us about the home that you're building. So you've bought land. Why did you buy where you bought and what have you bought?
So we bought within northwest Sydney. I've grown up in the area and I've just seen it, it grow tenfold. So now we've got the metro coming in and all those infrastructure projects with new schools and so on. So I just thought it would be the smart place to be. It's not our forever home, but it's where we'll be for the next 5 to 10 years.
So we're just looking now at the shot there. You see it digging up and starting to do something there, and it's so that area of Riverstone, for people who don't know, it's sort of on the way out, I suppose, towards Dural, out towards Windsor, if you like.
Yeah.
It's really has transformed a lot. I've gone there as a kid. My uncle lived not far away in Nelson, and I've seen that suburb. It's transformed
it's insane.
From what it was all farmlands and now housing.
Yeah, I actually went to school in Schofields, and back when I was in high school, it was all just farmland. Schofields now, you'll be lucky to be able to secure a 300 square metre block.
So here's some Schofields. We're seeing this place transform. Now this is all becoming suburbs with lots of great stock. Is that the two of you together?
Yep, that's us.
And that was your first.
That's him.
And so this was your first joint investment property.
Yeah.
How far into the relationship did you buy the property?
It was about 9-10 months.
Okay. And were you looking long for the property, and what sort of input did... I mean, you sound very strong with a strong voice on property and investment. Does your partner have the same sort of interest?
He does now.
Yeah.
He does now.
You're talking free real estate.
Words,
yeah. No, he does now. We both from very early on in the piece have set goals, and every month we're like, okay, this is where we want to be. We exceed that every month, and it's exciting. So I think it's really helped build the relationship as well.
And how did you have the discussion about sort of combining incomes and whose savings count and that sort of thing?
Yeah, so we've been pretty transparent with each other's incomes from the start. When Brendan and I first started dating, he was actually an apprentice, so lower income, but it was the following year that his income tripled. So.
Yes.
We just, it's never been I've put in more or I've put in this. We've just always put into savings. That's the main thing, as long as we're both moving forward.
I think there's lots of young people watching now, Samara, who are feeling like the real estate market's so beyond their reach. But, you're talking possibly the influence from your parents with an older head on your young shoulders.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for people, I mean, particularly young couples who are thinking maybe they don't want to share money or talk about money? What advice do you give?
Well, I'd work out, I guess, what you can do on your own versus what you can do together. You know, there are other ways. If you don't really want to both own the property 100%, there are structures that you can set in place. So your 50% is your 50%. So don't always look at it as, oh, you're giving away money. You can work it out. I think that together you can get a lot further than individually.
Two heads are better than one.
Yeah.
Two incomes are better than one.
Definitely.
Yeah.
People think it's not a very romantic thing to discuss, you know, especially that you raised it so early in the relationship, like 6 weeks in, you're talking about buying houses and saving and that kind of thing. Do you think people need to get over that feeling that, you know, that it's not a romantic thing to talk about?
Well, I guess as long as you're transparent, there shouldn't be anything to hide. I guess with Brendan and I, it's always been exciting because, like I mentioned, we've set goals, and you know, with that, at the end of the month, we have little celebrations of where we've gotten to, and it's really, I think it's helped build trust in our relationship, and it's been good. It's been strengthening.
I really like what you just said then. It's like that little rewards that you do. So explain that. I mean, I'm presuming you think, let's save this and pull the build in a little bit, but when we've saved this much, we're going to go out for dinner that night or something. What do you do?
What do we do?
Yeah.
We enjoy a lot of Netflix.
Okay.
We're real
homebodies.
That's great.
Yeah, we're real homebodies. So no, we don't go out and spend big at dinners or partying. So yeah,
we just have a financial focus.
You know, give each other a high five and and watch some TV.
Now that's romantic.
We like people who watch TV, particularly on Saturdays, right here with us. What do you think the biggest mistakes that engaged couples sort of make when they're starting to plan to get married, but also to plan to obviously invest together, because you're setting up, you know, a life together for the rest of your lives?
I think that some couples try and rush into it too fast. I mean, I think, you know, the days of having a year-long engagement are gone. You do need more time. But not only that, you know, your mortgage repayments aren't going to be your only cost. Have a look at, there'll be other expenses if you are buying a home. There'll be, you know, insurances, there'll be electricity, there'll be water. Can you actually afford this property? And not only that, but you're buying for the life you have today. If you're planning on getting married, and, you know, children aren't for everyone, but if they are in the picture, they cost money as well. Can you actually afford to own the property once you do have a child? And even if you are scraping by, do you really want to be scraping by? Is that going to prevent you from further developing your wealth investing in property? Sometimes it might work out to be cheaper to rent where you want to live and invest elsewhere.
Now, how do you guys, it sounds like you're very much on the same page when it comes to saving and investing, but how do you handle money disputes? Because, you know, arguments happen.
Yeah, arguments do happen. We've been lucky in the sense that we haven't had any big ones. I think, again, like I mentioned, start planning a little bit early on, be transparent. No, it doesn't matter if one person earns more than the other, as long as you're doing it together.
Yeah, I think the thing that you keep going back to just as we're talking to you is this transparency. I think having things out in the open.
Very, very important. That's how you avoid a lot of disputes.
And you know, your partner, how has he come from a similar background with his family as well and talked about money? I mean, it is sometimes the thing people get worried about. They feel like they're getting caged in or locked in, whereas, you know, you're so upfront about it.
Yeah, I don't think many people are as aggressive as I am about it. But no, he doesn't come from a background of, I guess, discussing money and financials.
Yeah.
And you've talked about your 5-year plan of, you know, your current home. What's the 10 or 15-year plan?
Oh, I'm hoping something big. Something big with a big long driveway.
You need to watch our luxury home segment with Maddie in a little while. Now you've been saving. What are your sort of top tips for people out there who are looking to save? You mentioned that you don't go out and spend a lot of money, and I think sometimes we all go out much more than what our parents did and the next generation, so on. So what are some tips that you can give to people to enjoy their lives but still be able to save? Yeah,
well, I guess things like, for example, one of my friends is planning on a Europe trip, and I told her it's fine, but just take it at the end of the year when you have when you're forced to take holidays anyway, so you're not taking time off work during the year and you can keep saving. Don't go out for just any occasion. But do go out for birthdays and, you know, for your close friends and be there. I just think try and sit down and work out what your must expenses are. Calculate exactly what they are and then work out how much you can put away. And as long as you're putting that figure away, do whatever you want with the rest of it. set aside some money for leisure.
Yeah, you got to have fun.
Yeah, you got to have fun. You do, otherwise what's the point of it all?
Yeah.